launch this. Never mind. I thought we were going to be able to do the other one. And I don't know why we can't do. Oh, I'm on my Rockfish. Okay, there we go. Cool. Now we're going to go live here too. Okay, it's going to take some time. We're going to go live on everything.
Okay.
Just 1 second. So everyone, we can actually go live here. We're live here. We're live on YouTube. And I'm doing it all.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what's cool about this laptop. The only thing is the audio might be picked up by that, so you're gonna have to talk loud if they want to watch it live here or on these. So we are live on all the pages, but I'm not live on the radio yet. We're gonna go live on the radio here in about 2 seconds.
All right.
They can hear us though.
Oh,
so you can talk to everyone. So you can actually we're on Facebook. We're on Facebook. You can go on YouTube. You can refresh that already if you want.
Okay. All right.
Are you ready?
Welcome everyone to
another
show to Whistling Radio, hosted on the TotalRadio.com. We have Laura on Facebook right now. That's probably going to be my Facebook, Laura.
Oh, okay. Just gotta go to.
That's why.
That's
you're
fine.
going to have to sign out. Just 1 second, everybody. We'll get this going.
I get it. I just gotta do this. Okay.
Okay, she's going to sign out. I'm not sure what she's doing. I thought we were going to do live chat on YouTube.
Yeah, we are. Let's go.
So I just went live on all the Facebook pages so you guys can check it out a different way also. But if you guys want a live chat, it will be on the YouTube link on Whistling Radio's YouTube. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are having a great day. It is, Friday, 9 p.m. or like 9:06 Central Time. Today we got some topics that Laura wants to go over, and it's been topics that have been brought up over the weeks, the last week, and that's how we're going to go with the shows. Is the topics hot for the week? Is the topics that we're going to hit, and hopefully everything is going good. I'm looking at live everywhere, and it looks like it's going good. So if you do jump on one of the Facebook pages live and you're chatting, I'll try to jump back and forth and see if we can get you if you got a comment. But we are on the YouTube channel, and we are on Whistling Radio Facebook, and we're on No Flux Given Facebook page. So go ahead, Laura. What did you want to talk about today?
I get people asking me about a whole bunch of stuff. We can start with the harness. I think Courtney wanted us to talk about harnesses.
Yeah, we hit on harnesses last week a little bit. Harnesses, like I said last week, is something that I personally wouldn't do. Birds aren't meant to have harnesses. Birds aren't meant to have a leash. And I think it can harm the bird more than it can help the bird. If the bird does take off, at the end of that leash, it's not going to have any give. It's going to take off, and it's going to jerk the bird back. Short falls can hurt birds. We all know this. And I mean, it's just a bad idea. I do know some people take their birds outside, and I don't want to say do not do that if you trust your bird and your bird's not going to fly away from you and, get lost. But I think we try to domesticate too much when it comes to birds. and try to treat them like a dog or a cat. They're a bird. They're not a dog or a cat. And they're not something that we want to put on leashes. That's just my personal opinion. I have had bird in the past. If you guys listened to last week's show that I did, it could take outside, and she's still on my. You're not going to be able to view the lives like I do.
Okay.
I got to tell her you're not going to be able to view the lives like I do because I have 2 accounts logged in. It
Okay.
might kick us off live.
All right, I'll
if
stay
you
here.
Keep doing that.
Okay.
So it's one of them things that I personally wouldn't do. I personally don't need to take my bird outside and show off to the world. If you want to take them outside, it's nothing against it. I just don't see a reason for a harness. It's just something I don't. I know Laura's wanted to get a harness for a while. It's just something if the bird does take off and that harness jerks it the right way, does a harness harm the bird more than it helps the bird? That's my question. What did you want to say about it?
I thought I wanted it until you explained it to me more, and I really didn't want to do it to Max after I thought about it too because of his wing. I don't want him getting re-injured or spooked or, getting sick by some bugs outside or, anything. Anything can happen outside. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of them things that you got to think about what's best for you. Am I going to put you down for putting your bird on a harness? No. Am I going to do it myself? Probably not. Birds are very intelligent, and they can be trained to do almost anything. We went back to Andrew a few times. Andrew takes out his bird all the time, and it comes back to him. But we also hear horror stories of a bird getting off a harness or harness being let go or just getting taken outside and the bird's gone. So it's a decision that you have to make. Do I personally like them? No. Am I going to, rat on somebody that, has them? No. It's just something that I personally would not do. It'd be like taking a monitor or a tegu outside on a leash and walking it down the street. It's probably going to cause more harm than it does good. So I'm just going to keep my monitor and tegu inside. That's what I'm going to do. I know it's an exciting thing to take your bird outside and have everyone look at, see your bird and everything else. But it's just something that I personally wouldn't do. I don't like bird harnesses. I don't like the thought of it. There's too many obstacles outside with that harness. And if it does get loose with that harness on, it's going to have a hard time. It's going to get caught up on something. What else did you want to hit on?
How about hormones? People have been talking about a lot of hormones lately and how their bird reacts or bites, and they feel that they need to have them caged until the hormones are done. But I don't have any problems with Max. I guess I just got lucky. But I just keep moving him. Like, say, if he tries to do his thing, I just keep moving my arm and I talk to him and I distract him, and that's how I deal with it. How would you have any other ideas?
I'm not understanding. I guess I don't understand. Does people think that just because it's breeding season, they got to lock up the birds?
Some people do because they're afraid that they're going to get bit or attacked.
You have a bird, you're going to get bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just be honest. You have an animal inside of a cage. It's going to happen. You're going to get bit. It's not if you get bit. It's going to be when you get bit. It's just what it is with a bird. Anyone that's owned birds for many, many years has been bitten. The breeding season or the hormonal season, as people put it, it's different for every bird. It's going to be different for ages. Another thing that Max got going is 19 years old, going on maybe 20, 23 years old. We don't know the exact age of the bird, but it possibly at the 2 to 3 year old range, you might have a little bit more that, because that would be like their maturity range, 5 years old. You might have some issues there. But also it matters how you stand up to the bird and how you present yourself to the bird. If you're always jerking back, when it does get, a little bit bitey or moody, you back down, it's going to remember that. It's going to remember that you back down So next time it doesn't want you to be around or it wants to be touched, it's going to, do that. Max has done it to me, and I don't back down. I make sure I touch him without him doing it. And now I can walk up to that bird at almost any time and, pick him up, whatever I want to do. I can touch him anywhere. And that's why I don't back down. Max has never bit me to the point where it's drew blood. A lot of times a mock bite is something that happens, and some people jerk back, or they get upset, or they react to it, and it makes a mock bite into a bite because they don't want to. The bird doesn't want to fall, or it thinks it's being attacked. It's just something that each bird is going to be different. Do a breeding pair of birds have more attitude, should I say, or how should I put it? Protecting of the cage and a nesting spot? Sure do. Do a single bird? We can show you with Max. I can go up and touch Max. Max, it doesn't matter. The whole box trick. I think people try to link things to some things and say that's the reason. Some birds just don't want to be touched, and you got to learn to read your bird. Do hormones play a part in some of their aggression? Yes. Is that the only thing that's going on right now? Like a bad molt. I've heard people say bad molts make them aggressive. Well, think about what you did when it got aggressive. I bet you money when you walked up to your bird, it wasn't aggressive right away. But when you started scratching the bird really hard, or you did something and you touched a feather that's sensitive or something like that, and it went off a little bit, I bet you that was the reason over just it seeing you and saying, I'm going to eat that face right now. It's more so than, just saying it's hormones. That's why my bird's there. And a lot of times people get scared into it's hormonal season, it's breeding season. Oh, it had a box, so leave that bird in the cage. I'll give you a little story about the 2 conures we have now. I have to force these guys to get the conures out and play with the birds because they're a little nippy. But once you get the birds out of the cage, they're pretty good. And that's because the people allowed that to happen. They allowed that they said, okay, we're gonna put a nesting box in there. We're gonna put these 2 birds together. They were hoping to breed the pair of birds. And the bird is 1.5 years and one's 2 years old, and they gave up because they didn't get eggs yet. Seriously, that's what they said. They gave up because they didn't have eggs yet. In my opinion, if we work with them birds and we keep them together, even if they have eggs, they're not going to be aggressive birds. Most of the time, people leave them alone, and a longer time you leave them alone, they're going to bond with the animal that's close to them. And that's another bird, the bird that you have caged with them. So if you do cage birds together, you tend to, and you don't play with them, you give them a week, they're going to kind of unbond with you and kind of bond with that bird. And to prove the point is with these 2 conures, you separate the 2, they both turn into big babies. That's just what they are. I mean, I was sitting in the office the other day and one flew in here and just landed on me and it just sat here with me for about, I don't know, maybe 3-4 minutes. I took off again. It's just what it is. I mean, does hormones, like I said, hormones do play a part in it. Breeding does play a part in it, but they do not. It's not an aggressive nature like some people put out there. It's more of a natural thing. Like I said, Max tries to breed Laura's hand all the time. He's never got aggressive. I can go up right after he starts doing it, and I can pet him on the head. He doesn't care. It's just something that happens. It's how you handle it and how you work it with it and how you look at it. If you every time your bird comes at your hand, you back down and you walk away, it's not hormones making that bird, show that aggression to get rid of you. It's you training him. If you do that, I'm going to back down. And that's not to be dominant over the bird either. You just don't want to back down. There's a green zone for everything. There's an extreme one way and extreme the other, and then there's a green zone. Do you need to scare your bird? No. But do you need to pet? Like every time Max would come after me at first, I would make sure that I pet him before I walked away. And now it works. I can walk up to that bird. If I don't say hi to the bird, he's upset. So, the hormone thing, it matters. Now, if you have 2 birds in a cage and you're going to try to breed them birds, you're probably not going to be snuggly with them birds. If you got one single bird, especially if you have one single bird, I bet you if you look at what you're doing, you might see that there might be other things that are making him a little aggressive or her a little aggressive at that point. That's what I'm trying to get through to Laura, that, Max isn't being aggressive. I don't think I've ever seen an aggressive Max. He gets moody, but he might not want to be touched. He might, at that very moment, something might have spooked him. To give you an example, I had a new camera rig I got out today. He was more curious about it being in my hand than he was scared of it. And that goes to the trust he has with me now, knowing that I'm not going to do anything to hurt him. He thinks anything in my hand's a comb. So if I have it in my hand, it's a comb to him, and I can pet him with it. Like literally, I could have a pea pod in my hand, and he thinks it's a comb. I can't feed him nothing. He wants me to pet him with everything I get in my hand. Now, I know some people are going to sit there and think, well, he's wrong. Hormones do this. I'm not saying hormones aren't part of it, but we're trying to domesticate a bird, and we're wanting certain things instead of knowing that it's still a bird. And once you understand that it's a bird, you'll get farther with it. And I think the people that's had their birds 30 years, 40 years understand what I'm saying. And the people that, just got a bird a year ago might be a little confused. So you got to learn to read whatever bird you have. You have to be able to read their head movements, their chest movements, their wing movements. You got to be able to tell the difference between an excited wing flop, I call it, to an aggressive one. There's a difference.
What's the difference between the two?
You got to know your bird.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Because some birds will never show you the aggressiveness of it. But like to take a bird, if they puff out their chest, they stand really tall, and they got their wings flapped out about halfway, and they're not flapping them, and they're holding them out, and they charge you, that's aggressive. That's leave me alone, back off. But if they're flapping their wings, they got them about, I would say 1/4 of the way out to halfway out, and they're flapping them, and they got their head pushed out farther than their chest, and it's pushed out towards you. That's not so much an aggression. That's more excitement. And some birds do variations of it all, and you'll have to learn your bird. But overall, that tends to be it. I still haven't figured out why cockatoos and birds like to bite feet when they're on the floor. They love to bite feet. I haven't figured that one out yet. So what do you have to add to that?
I think you hit about just everything. But yeah, a lot of people do talk about, well, my bird's on the floor and he's attacking my feet. But Max has never done it to me, but I've seen him do it to other people. So
yeah, and I think that some people take aggression or a bite and they try to explain it. So it's easy to hit hormones, or it's just a mean bird. To give you an example between the conures we have one that is very, very, very cage aggressive. And then we have one that isn't so cage aggressive, and when she does bite, it's not hard at all. The other one will get you pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you get them outside the cage. The cage aggressive one will 80% of the time be very sweet. 20% of the time wants to chew on your hand. The other one turns into a sweetheart and does whatever you want. You can touch her, pet her, whatever you want to do. You got to read your bird. Now, I think that has more to do with them being caged together. I think that they both would lose all the aggression that they have, if you can call it that, if we separated them. But also, you don't want to do it cold turkey, as they are a bonded pair. A bonded pair does not mean male and female either. 2 males can bond, 2 females can bond.
Oh.
So a lot of times I seen it the other day on one of the bird sites. Someone says, I got a bonded, I bought 2 cockatiels and they bonded, they have to be male and female, and that's not true. That's not true at all. So you got to look at the aggression and what you did. It could have been a new toy. Could have been the way you approached them. Is it a new bird to you? A new bird still within a year. A year is still a new bird. Max is still new to us, and we're learning stuff about him every day. Is it a bird that you've had for 30, 40 years? If you had a bird 30, 40 years, you've probably seen everything that bird has to offer. It's probably shown you everything. It's shown you its bad days, its good days, it's bad moments, it's good moments. It's probably chewed on stuff you don't want. It's probably bit you. It's probably done tons of stuff. But to give you an example, how you got to look at the aggression is, Max was falling off his perch one time, or it was a perch or something, and Laura went to grab him, and he bit her arm, but he wasn't biting her out of aggression. He was biting her because he was falling, and that was another perch. Her arm became a perch for him to grab a hold of. And as soon as she jerked back, when that beak touched her arm, his instinct says, bite harder so I don't fall down.
And he did.
It wasn't aggression, because the bird was not aggressive afterwards at all. After we got him up, he was same old Max. He was scared at that moment, and then he was fine. But Laura had the marks to show that it hurt. Now, some people might have been like, oh, that was because of hormones, or that was because of this. It was because of the fall. That was his third hand. He was trying to get up so he didn't fall. And when she jerked, he held on tighter. And, of course, our skin isn't as tough as wood. So I'm a realist when I look at everything. I'm a realist. I look at everything I can and try to figure out the problem. And, sometimes it is, it's breeding season. You got a bird. So he wants to, have relations with their hand. But I'm going to tell you guys something. Ready for this? He's been doing that for the last 10 months.
Yep.
So it wasn't a season. He's been doing it for the last 10 months. Giving him boxes. There's people online that told her not to give boxes. And Laura's bound determined when I said to give boxes, that's the reason he bit her arm one time. I'm like, nope. I said, let's review it. Let's go over what happened at that very moment. Let's go over, and we found out why the truth was. It was for a fall, or it was because of this or that. It was other things other than a box. She's been giving Max boxes for the last month, 2 months, all the time now.
He loves his boxes. Oh, my God.
Max has never bit aggressively. Ever.
Yep. One was in fear, and the other one was falling, and the other one was falling. And then I learned to grab a towel.
And I don't want to say Max is like every bird, but I'm trying to say that you got to learn your bird. So I can't go on the internet and say, don't do that. That's going to cause your bird to do this, because I don't know the bird. That person could have been doing that for years and never had an issue. But now that I said something, it put something in that person's mind, and they'll be looking for a reason. Okay, that happened because Gary said this. So some birds can have boxes, some birds cannot. Some birds can have there's so many things. Some birds like stuffed animals, some birds don't. If you want your bird to have stuffed animals and they're kind of scared of them, I am not joking, cut their faces off. They're scared of the faces. They don't like the faces. So that's hormones is one of them really hard things to do. It's one of them things that I can't say this or that, but if you have one cockatiel or one bird, it tends. How should I put this? Max is bonded to Laura, and I'm sure your bird is bonded to you, or your bird is bonded to your other half, your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe it's bonded to one of your kids. And everyone's bird has that favorite person in his life, and that's that bond. And how should I put it? Like, just like they bond with another bird, that bird's going to want to protect that person that they bonded with. And that's another reason that bites happened is, let's say if Max is on Laura and I come up and he didn't know who I was, he would bite Laura to have her run away. It's a defense mechanism. They're like, hey, bite run away. I'll deal with this big intruder, and you're going to be safe because you're running away because I bit you. It was their way of talking. And that happens a lot. If you have breeding pairs of like Quaker parrots, you'll see this, or a breeding pair of any birds, and you walk up to the cage, and sometimes if the birds that come up to you, you'll see one bite the other one and make it go away, and people think, oh, isn't that cute? It loves me the most. No, it's trying to protect the other bird. And it's something that happens in nature all the time because let's say a pair of, whatever birds is there, one sees danger, it's going to make the other one fly away by biting at them. It makes them fly away, so they both make it. It's a defense mechanism. And not many people know that. Not many people, not even rescues know that. I was really shocked by that when I talked to them about that. But, yeah, I mean, know who your bird is and know what your bird does. That's the most important thing. Oh, shoot. I got it. There we go. I wonder what's going on with all these other sites. Oh, wow. We got a lot of people right here. Okay, guys. I see you guys are on Whistling Radio Live on, I don't even know what site that is, but probably No Flocks. I see you guys now.
They should come over to YouTube so we can see all the chat.
Yeah, they hear you talk too.
Yeah, we can hear. Come on over to YouTube so we can see your.
Or I can just stay on this page.
Okay, I can't read it over there, but just come on over so we can see what you're talking about. I see Tiffany over there, Nicole, Cowboy or Courtney. Come on over.
So I see someone said, "How do you transition from one bird to more?" If you're talking about like if you own one bird and you're going to more birds, there's a couple things you got to keep in mind, and people that have a lot of birds probably can contest to this. You're going to want to introduce them very slowly to the other birds if you're going to have them flock together and be out in the open. Your other bird's going to get jealous, I promise you. It's going to happen. They're going to get a little bit of jealousy there because your time's going to be with someone else or some other animal. That's how they view it. But you just pick the bird that you want the most and introduce them slowly and make sure you don't forget about that first bird. Make sure you don't forget about it. You can actually lower that down if you want.
I had it there. And it was there for a purpose. Thank you very much.
These people, we did this last week.
I know, but it was there for a reason.
But it's more important that they hear you. You got to talk.
Oh, like that, yeah.
It's more important that they hear you.
Yes.
Than blocking your face. I'm going to tease you the whole time. I don't care.
An ass.
So, if you're talking about getting like a pair of birds and you want to, separate them, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. It's not an overnight thing, and I'm trying to tell my son that because he's upset that the conure that he is a little bit bitey, and the things barely break the skin. And he wanted a bigger bird. Yeah. But anyways, it takes time. It's not an overnight thing. Nothing's overnight. Like I said, Laura was very lucky. I even told her this when we got the bird. I said, you're gonna go through trial and error with this bird. And she's lucky. She can do whatever she wants with that bird. That's a very lucky thing. So I want to check the other. No, it's on Whistling Radio. Whistling Radio has all the listeners. That's cool. So I got to see that. Diet. What do you want to talk about diet? Because you got to talk here sometime.
Yeah, I know. Diet's a touchy one because I start talking. I see people fight about it all the time. Like, don't feed pellets, feed pellets. Don't give them tomatoes. Don't do this. Don't do that. And so I usually stay out of that subject online because it kind of gets.
I'll dive right into it.
It's real beautiful.
I'll dive right into it.
Great.
Okay. Too much of one thing is never good. So anyone that feeds their birds just fresh fruits and vegetables, I guarantee they're not feeding fresh fruits and vegetables from where that bird's from. That's one. Two, they're going to feed them fresh fruits and vegetables that they find on Google. They're like, this bird likes this. Okay. Now, you don't want to go out there and get stuff that we know your bird can't eat. You don't want to feed them apple seeds. You don't want to feed them avocado. You don't want to feed them a lot of the stuff that's on the list, okay? That's bad. But if it's not on the list to be bad, you can always feed the bird a little bit of it and see where it's at. I know people that give 10% seed, and people go nuts about it.
Yeah, they go
And
absolutely
then people that give 10% pellet. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would not feed just fresh fruits and vegetables. I would not feed just pellet. I would not feed just seed. I would feed a little of everything. And if someone's going to say, and I got this on an email or maybe in a message or on one of the threads, I remember someone saying, well, pellets are recalled.
That's happened right when we got Max. That's the same way.
And I totally agree. Pellets get recalled. So does food and produce. How many times have you seen, hey, guess what, guys? This baby product, baby food has been recalled, and you're going to be able to return it and get new. But how many babies were fed that? Before,
Millions.
I mean, they didn't catch it.
Probably millions.
All food gets recalled if they find something. All dog foods, pellets, every type of seed, eggs, milk, you name it, gets
Everything.
recalled at some point when they find something wrong with it.
I know what it was. Last year, right after we adopted Max, a lot of birds were dying, and they blamed it on pellets.
I'm going to say that if you feed just pellets, yes, you're going to have an issue. Bottom line, you're going to have an issue. If you feed, I mean, like we buy I think it's like a 3-pound bag, and it lasts 2 months, 3 months, maybe even more. I think we've had Max 10 months, and we bought 3 bags. So that goes to tell you right there. Then he eats eggs, he eats peppers, he eats banana, he eats oranges, he eats noodles, he eats whatever he wants. Really, whatever he wants.
If you feed too much fruit, doesn't that give them? Can get dehydrated?
Yeah, well, they get diarrhea. They can get diarrhea for what birds can get. You never want to give them too much of anything. You can't give them too much of anything. A variety diet is the way to go. No matter what, a variety diet is the way to go. If you don't like pellets, don't feed pellets. Feed the rest of the stuff. If you don't like seed, don't put seed in it. There are birds that eat seed. There are birds that eat meat and mice.
Yeah.
I mean, I put on a thread about the mealworms and stuff. We hit on diet last week a little bit too. These are kind of all other than hormones, kind of like a repeat, but that's all good. So the best thing to do, if you guys want to know, the best thing to do is find out where your bird came from the wild and find out what they eat in the wild and try to mimic that 100%. That's probably the best way to do it. But let's all be honest, we're not going to do that. We can't. There's certain foods we can't get imported in. There's reasons for that. So, yeah, I mean, a variety diet is the best way to go. It's just the way, I mean, cook for them if you like. Make the mash that some people make. If you like pellets, find a pellet. Some birds won't eat pellets. Some birds, that's all they'll eat.
And some birds, they say they can't eat, they only eat a certain color. I kind of proved that wrong. I left Max's sit in there. I filled his dish up, and then I let them all sit in there, and eventually every pellet was gone. He ate every one.
Yeah, if you leave that, leave them pellets and don't give them any other pellets, yeah, they'll eat them all eventually. So, let's see. And Max is talking to us right now. Max is wanting to be on here.
Mary Richardson asked, she's from No Flocks Given. She said she got an Indian ringneck about 2 months ago, and she's been working with him or her, I forgot what she said. Really good, and the bird loves her now, but he won't stop screaming, and she's trying to figure out how to
stop rewarding your bird for screaming. I've seen it posted. I don't know who posted it. There was a person on No Flocks Given that actually gave really good advice. The number one thing that we're doing to our birds when they scream is say, shut up. be quiet, whatever. That's all they're looking for, sound out of your mouth. That's it. So teach them other things. So when they say that, you give them the attention. So maybe it's a key word that you want to teach them or a key sound. Like Max doesn't scream for me. He'll actually do like a meow sound, like a cat. And that's what he does. When he sees me walk by and he wants to talk to me, he'll do that little meow sound. Because I showed him that when he does that, he's going to get my attention. When he screams, I don't talk to him. And Laura still has problems with that a little bit.
Yeah.
When they're screaming, they don't understand you 100%. I know we like to think it. But you screaming or yelling or telling it to shut up or be quiet or any attention when it's giving you a scream, that's why they're screaming. They're calling their flock. They're calling the people that they love, or the birds that they love. They're calling for them. And when you sit there and say, be quiet or calm down or anything like that, they're getting that attention. They're just hearing sounds coming out of your mouth. That's all they're doing. They're hearing sounds, so they're going to scream right back. And if you teach them, like, every time they say hello, you go up and talk to them. Or every time they say, their name or pretty boy or pretty girl or something like that, you give them attention. They'll start saying that instead. And it's a little more compelling to hear pretty bird or hello or, than rah, 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 over and over and over again. But that's what they're doing, is calling their flock. And that's what that bird is doing, is calling its flock. And it's probably you. It wants you around, because if you go up and talk to it, I bet you it gets really quiet. And it sits there and you're like, oh, wow, it just wanted me. Exactly. And as soon as you walk away, it's going to get loud again.
Yeah.
So what you got to do is going to take some time, and you're going to have to work with it. And the best advice, I wish I knew that guy's name, it says it to train it to say something else. It was the best advice I've seen for a screaming bird yet. Train it to say hello or another name. And every time it says that, you give it positive feedback. You go up and talk to the bird, you pet the bird. But when it screams, I know this is hard, ignore it. Act like it's not even there. And don't throw a cover over it. I know if you're trying to break it from doing it, some people are going to say, throw a cover over its cage. That's the easy way out. Eventually you're going to be having to cover over the cage 24/7.
Yeah, and that's not fun for the bird.
What else we got?
We got, when I put my cockatoo in his cage, another one, when he screams, how can we stop this? Well, you just did that. There was two different ones.
Yeah, he doesn't like being in his cage. No one likes being in a cage, but we got to do it. Loose bird, even though I let Thug run loose back in the day, you do not want to let large birds, any bird really, because, learn from my lesson, letting a bird have free flight. Accidents happen, and it's the owner's fault. It's not our fault. But he's wanting to talk to you. So the best thing for you to do, and this is something that might help you and might help a lot of people, try to put him away every night at the same time and leave the room. And then he might go off for a little bit. Once he stops, he calms down, he'll go. He'll stop and he'll go to sleep, and then he'll wake up probably screaming like Max does. But try to make it the same time every single night. I know that's pretty tough. If the bird is in your living room, it's going to be really tough if you want to watch TV. You want to have company over, it's going to be really hard. But try to do it every night the same time. Put the bird away. After you put the bird away, you say your good nights, you pet them, whatever. You do not talk to them the rest of the night. You go to bed. You're done. If we put Max away, it is a rarity that I talk to him if I come back downstairs. And when I go to work, it's a rarity I talk to him. I don't want him getting used to that, me talk to him and then screaming in the middle of the night. So I don't want to reward him for screaming. I don't want to reward him by saying, scream, I'll come to you. I want him to know that he's safe. And I want him to know that I'm there, but when he screams, that's not going to get positive reinforcement from me by saying, yep, you scream for me, I'm here. It does take time. There's some birds that don't grow out of it, and especially adopted birds. Adopted birds tend to be a little bit harder on the screaming part than actual baby birds, because we don't know what the past was for that bird. We don't know the routine for that bird. That bird might have been held 24/7, 30 days a month.
Yeah.
We don't know what it exactly was. So we'll have to, take that step by step. It's going to take some time. Everything takes time with birds, especially rescued birds. It takes time. Nothing's overnight. Not one thing's overnight.
I got lucky with Max, though. That Max
got
is a
lucky.
very extreme, weird, different case.
Max screams though.
Yeah, Max can scream really loud. Showers.
Oh, talk. Yeah,
They want to, yeah. Some people keep asking about showers, how to give a bird a shower. And there's some people that just miss them with spray bottle. Some people put them in the shower like I do. That's how I started out with Max. When I got him, I literally just took him and I set him into the shower or the tub. And I had a reptile mister, and I'd started with that. And then I noticed that he didn't mind that. So I took the shower head and I slowly started, doing that, showering him down that way. Then recently, I'd say the past maybe 6 months or so, I'll scrub him up like a human baby. I'll wash his talons and his toes and I'll wash every little part of that bird, and he just loves it. And then some people say, "Oh, I'm afraid to do it." Well, just try. You don't know if you don't try, and some days they might not like it, and eventually, more than likely, they're gonna like it. They like being clean, and it helps with their dust too. Some people say they're really dusty. Well, give them more showers. It helps cut down on that dust. I know that for sure because there was a time period where I wasn't holding Max for a little bit. I wasn't feeling good, and I was just kind of out of it. And that those couple weeks that he didn't get a shower, there was dust and everywhere, powder everywhere. And I cleaned that up and I started giving him showers again, and it was hardly any dust again. And Max is one of the dustiest birds. He's a Moluccan cockatoo, if some of you don't know. So you can guarantee there was tons of dust and powder everywhere.
Start with a mister.
Yep.
Don't stick them in the shower right away. Start with a mister. If you have a smaller bird, start with a mister and a bowl of water. If you got larger birds, start with a mister, a spray bottle on their favorite perch, and spray yourself. If they don't like it, they get scared of it, spray yourself first. They'll see that it's safe. And then work your way up to the tub, because if something startles your bird, it's gonna give a defensive, get defensive over it. It's gonna be scared. It doesn't know what a shower is right now, unless your bird already does. But when it's born, it doesn't go, "Hey, that's a bathtub. I want that." So you got to show it what it is, and get it to the point where where it trusts you enough to take it into the bathtub. So start with a mister, a bowl of water. Even if you got a big bird, get a big bowl of water, get a tub, like a Sterlite tub from Walmart, and the ones we've seen for $50. No, they're not $50, like $7. We've seen some price for $50. Get some for like $7. Fill it up with cut it down to where it's shallow. It's only like 3 or 4 inches off the ground. Fill it up with an inch of water. Let the bird play in it for a little bit. See how it goes. And get a little spray bottle, mist it down, put it on a mist, and they'll love it. And then you can take the bird and the bowl into the tub or whatever you have, into the shower, and let them play in the shower without putting the shower on. And make sure you get that the shower thing that you can take off, and it's like on a hose, the removable shower head. That helps. And then once it gets used to the tub, then you can actually start the shower routine, and then you can remove the tub that you put inside your bathtub, and there you go. That's a quick and easy way to get it. It might take a week, might take a month, but start with a mister and a Sterlite or a Rubbermaid tub. Cut it down so it's not so high, because anything above a bird's head is scary to it. anything that's coming down above its head scary. So if it's above their head, they get a little worried about it. So you don't want anything coming into a box above their head. So cut that down. A Sterlite tub or a Rubbermaid tub is only like $7-8. Cut it down about 4 inches, and then fill it up with an inch or two of water. I wouldn't even say 2 inches, about an inch of water, and let them play in it and see how it goes.
I think we hit everything. Oh, there was just right before the show started, someone was asking, how can I tell if my cockatoo is a male or female? And some people said, look at their eyes. Their eyes sort of, to me, they seem all the same.
The only 100% sure way to tell the sex of any bird is a DNA test. I've seen people do the eye trick. I've seen people do. I was just told, I had no clue about this. Green cheek conure feet. If they're black, they're male, and if they're white, they're female.
I've never seen white feet on conures.
Well, peach.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I've never heard of that. And I'm tired today.
Me too.
And I'm like, I don't think that's true. And that the rumor's out there, and it might work 50% of the time if you get that joke.
50% of the time.
The only real way is to get a DNA test done, and you take it to the vet, get a DNA test done. I know some vets do it for $45 all the way up to $200. It matters on the vet you have and the qualifications and blah blah blah. I think our local vet here does it for like $80. I want to say $75, something like that. Because you got to pay for a visit. The office visit's always separate. And I think I just got a diddling. Oh, live stream made easy. I forgot to use that. I have a new program to do live streams, and I forgot to use it. But oh well. Anyways, you got to have a good vet. You got to have a good vet, and every vet's going to have an office visit. But go ahead and give your vet a call. Ask them how much to sex a bird, and they'll let you know the process of it. Some vets, I've seen them, no joke, pluck a feather to get blood. And then I've seen them actually cut the nail to get blood. I've seen both. I've never done it personally. I'm not a veterinarian. So I've just seen what they've done. And some people, they've used needles to get blood for DNA test, whatever. So that's the only surefire way. I don't want to tell you, look at their eyes or look at their beak color on parakeets or, I'm sorry, budgies. I'm going to tease everyone about that forever. And that's just a joke, guys. I'm not being serious or mean. I've seen them say, if it's a blue beak, it's a boy, and a pink beak is a girl. And I'm like, no, that's not it.
Only one you can for surely tell is Eclectus.
Yes.
One's red and purple,
Yes.
and one's green. The males are green, and the females are the purple and red. They're so pretty.
Yes, I agree. The Eclectus, very much so. The Eclectus, you can tell. And there are some birds, that you can do that are out in the wild, but a cockatoo we can't, and scarlets we can't, and most of your pet birds that we keep we can't. So a DNA test, and we talked about bites already. Quarantine.
Yep.
We want to talk about quarantining.
Yep. There was somebody on No Fox that had gotten
All right.
2 birds, and it kind of got a little bit ugly. Then it calmed down.
Let's talk about true quarantine, basic quarantine, and what the hell quarantine. What the hell quarantine is just keeping them in the same room in a different cage. Okay? Basic quarantine is in the same house, different room. True quarantine is a different building altogether. And if you keep them in a different building altogether, true quarantine is every time you work with them animals in a building, you must change your clothes and shower before you touch the other bird.
Yeah.
No one does true quarantine.
I'm sure there's some people, but
extreme cases.
yeah.
Some people say quarantine 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year. What's the best way to quarantine? that's up in the air. I would not put them in the same room unless you can tell. Most rescues do not quarantine. If they do, they keep it a different part of the room. And I know the volunteers aren't going to change their clothes anyway, so it's not a true quarantine.
Yeah.
But there's precautions being taken. And that's basically what we want to do is take precautions. If you see a physically ill bird, you do not want to put them near other birds. The problem with the bird species is they hide the illness so well. With most wild animals, they hide illness very well because if they show illness in the wild, they're going to be eaten.
Yeah, because they're weak.
Because they're weak. So usually, and anyone that's had a sick bird before knows, it will sneak up on you faster than anything else. It just comes up. So quarantine is important. I would not go out and buy a bunch of birds if you have a bunch of birds and add them into your flock or your pet room. I would at least put them in a different room if you have any questions or doubt about the birds. But how can I put it? Most of the time, you're going to be fine. But quarantine is something that you should be able to do to some extent. You don't want to, share perches right away. You don't want them to share cages right away, stuff like that, until you know your bird's healthy. What's the time frame on that? I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't know, and I also don't know what diseases birds can carry and how long it does. I know that in the reptile trade, it's usually 90 days. Because usually in 90 days you can tell if that animal is okay or not, if it has parasites or anything like that. So I don't want to say 90 days is the golden rule. I don't know 100%. Maybe I'll look into that and see what other people are saying, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. 90 days seems to be that where you'll be able to catch most of it, in my opinion. But quarantining is something that some people are going to take very seriously. And then some people are going to be like, it is what it is. To give an example, when I was breeding leopard geckos and I had thousands, when I bought new geckos, unless they came from two people that I used to buy from, everyone else's geckos didn't even enter my gecko room. They weren't even allowed there. That's how stickler I was with reptiles. But reptiles are a little bit different too. If you have them in a total different room and you change your clothes and you wash up, you're pretty good. You might be able to transfer mites. That's about it. So I am tired today, guys. I am sorry about that. I am really, really tired. So what else we got?
Did we talk about bites? I know we talked about bites last week, but just people really have a hard time with that. I know. I won't lie, I do. It scares me.
We hit on bites with the hormones too.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Most bites are not aggressive bites. Most bites are defensive, and there's a difference. And then most of them are, I like calling perch checks, that people get scared and jerk their arm back. And when they're doing a perch check, they grab on tighter. And our arms and our fingers and stuff are not as hard as wood. So it will leave a mark or break the skin or bruise.
Bruise for 2 to 3 months.
So
your arm looks like a rainbow.
And most people know that when they have birds. Whenever you say step up, birds usually will lower their head and grab a hold of your arm and step up. They're checking that perch. They're making sure it's strong. It's really rare to find just an aggressive bird. That's just aggressive. If it's just aggressive, it's a wild caught bird or it's an ex-breeder, and it's had a rough life in captivity. A wild bird should have been left in the wild. And I know there's laws against it, and someone's going to say, there's laws against it. They don't do it. Trust me, they still do. There's laws against collecting certain reptiles, and guess what? They're still collected to this day. To give an example, for all my Australian friends, they all know that it's illegal to export animals out of Australia. Excuse me. It's illegal. But F1, which means Generation 1 or wild caught, jungle carpet pythons came up in the UK about 8 years ago. How'd they get there? They came from the wild, someone smuggled them out. It's sad, but they do it. But, I mean, it's really rare to find a bird that does not want to be loved. Birds are naturally loving animals. They want to bond with somebody. They want to bond with a flock. It's a rarity that birds are solo their whole life. I know there's some species out there that do not flock, but many of them do. And the animals that we keep, they do flock. So they're wanting that attention. They're wanting that love. We just got to find out what's wrong and try to beat that. It could be it was an ex-breeder. It could be it was, an abused animal, and it just doesn't trust humans anymore. It sees us as the enemy, and you can get it to trust you again. I promise. It just might take time, persistence. Also, it's a rarity that birds just go off and bite. You got to pay attention to your bird. You want to, see if, it gives you any signals. When that bite happened, the best thing to do is right away try to think about what happened to make that bite happen. What made that bird decide I'm going to bite at that time. The best way to battle anything is education and knowledge. And if you know what happened to make the bird do that, you might be able to prevent it. You might be able to prevent that bird from doing that again, or prevent you scaring that bird again. So biting is one of them things that, like the conures out there, they don't bite. They don't. Promise. It just might take time. She is bound determined to get on there.
I was trying to, because Juliet asked me to message her, but she's on. I
Gotcha.
just see. Okay.
She got on the YouTube.
Nope. On seeing all the messages and
Gotcha.
whistling.
So there's a lot of things that can make a bird quote unquote bite. And I'm telling you guys, if we sat down and we talked about when the last time your bird bit and we went over it all, I bet you we could find out the reason it happened. And then the key is just to cut that out. Just to cut it out. It could be the way you approached it. The number one way you should always approach a bird is with your hands behind your back. That is a very unaggressive approach to a bird. You remember that aggressive approach is this wings out, chest puffed out. So when they see you coming about with your arms wailing off to the side, they're gonna think that you're being aggressive, especially to a new bird that does not know you. So the best way to do is put your hands behind your back, stay out of strike range. I call it a strike range even for large birds, and talk to the bird. Talk in a soft whispers are great, and then work your way up. Don't go over there right away and start yelling at the bird in his face. And I'm not saying yell in a bad way. I mean, even say, Polly, want a cracker? Or anything like that. Talk in a very soft voice. And let the bird approach you. Don't force yourself on the bird. You might walk up to his perch or might walk up to his cage for a month straight doing that. And it not do a thing until that 31st day or 32nd day. And then that bird's going to approach that cage on the other side or come up close to you on the perch, and that might be your breakthrough. The number one mistake I see people do, especially the big birds, is walk up to them and try to pet them on the head. There's two problems with that. Or should I say three? One, the bird doesn't know you. Two, your arms are wings, and now it's seeing a wing flared out, and then also it doesn't understand your Polly, want a cracker? Oh, you're such a pretty bird. It doesn't understand that. It just sees you as screeching. So it's already put in its head, wings out, chest out, screaming, aggression. It's going to be aggressive back. If you walk up to your bird, arms behind your back, soft, quiet talk or even whispers, and no fast movements, you're going to get a lot better response out of your new bird. And this doesn't really this really goes to adoption more than babies. Because if you're getting a baby, hand-fed baby, it's pretty well it's going to be fine. You're probably going to get out of this, hey, I need to make it love me stage. Because a little baby bird that just got hand-fed is going to love anything that touches it. But we're talking about the adopted birds. And I think that's why I could approach almost any bird at that rescue and touch it. Is because how I approached it. I'm not going up to every single bird screaming at it. And when I say screaming, again, I'm not saying aggression or yelling at it mean way. I'm saying is your voice getting at that, higher pitch or loud and saying, hey, pretty bird, or how you doing, or over and over and over. It's just hearing the seeing you and then hearing you get loud is an aggressive approach. But if you whisper, whispers are great. I don't know why whispers work great for birds. If you go up, whisper to it with your hands behind your back, I guarantee you're going to get farther with your brand new rescue than anything else. I know some people say, make it step up on you, make it do this, make it do that. The one thing I've seen is at the rescue, and I love the rescue we got Max from, they wrap birds up in towels all the time. Oh, it's aggressive, so get the towel. Well, no crap. If you're going to be wrapped up in the towel every time I seen you, I seen you, you're going to wrap me up in a towel, I'm going to be aggressive to you too. I don't want to be wrapped up in a towel. And they remember. So you got to look at what you're doing and what you're doing with your new bird. And this isn't really for the veterans. The veterans in the bird world kind of know what to expect from each bird. But we got a lot of new bird owners and asking questions, and that's a great thing. Ask questions, but don't even take just everything I say. Take it with a grain of salt. Also, and your bird might not do what I say. It might be totally different than every other bird in the world. And Max is a great example of that. Max isn't like any bird that anyone ever seen, and I'm sure your bird is like no bird like anyone else has seen. Your bird has its own personality, its own little quirks, its own little likes. It might like its head scratched or its belly scratched. It might want to shake your hand. It might want to sit there and prune you. It might not want to. It might want to just sit on your shoulder and sit there. It might want to sleep with you. It might want to sleep by itself. It might want to be on you when you watch TV. It might not want to be. It might be a bird that likes to snuggle. Might not be a bird that wants to snuggle. You get my point. Every little bird's a little different. And that's the thing is you got to start learning your bird. And I'm not saying write down stuff at all. I'm saying remember what's going on and remember what's happening even when it's happy. When you're doing something that makes it happy, no, I know how to get Max to start dancing and everything else. I know how to go out there and get him going. And Laura's like, great. I can go out there right now and get that bird going nuts, and it will not bite me no matter what. But Laura used to think that it was going to be aggressive, and you found out it's not.
Yeah.
He's happy. One of the quickest way for your parrot fans, the parrot people and the cockatoos, and for the new people, if their tongue is a flicking, they're a very happy bird.
Oh,
They're a very, very happy bird. And also, if they perch near you with one foot, they're a very content bird that they trust you.
And when their feathers are puffed up around their beak,
yes,
they're content too.
Yes, it's a very, very, very. The little signs tell you more information than anything else. The little signs will give you so much information. Oh, we got lots more comments now.
Yes.
Jeez.
Jewel was talking about she can't stand people say, Polly, want a cracker? I hate that. The birds are so smart. Why talk to them like they don't know anything? But some people don't know.
Well, first, yeah, I agree with the comment because not every bird's name is Polly.
Yeah.
And
Max even said.
And birds really don't like crackers.
No, Max looks at it like, what the hell is that?
It should be like Birdie want an apple. Or,
or a banana or an orange.
Birdie want a banana or a jalapeno or I agree. You want to say anything while I read some of these comments or
yeah, hi Nicole. Hi Jewel. My friend had 2 wild-caught toucans and 1 wild-caught Amazon. I actually held the Amazon after talking to her for years. That's awesome. What kind of, like a big toucan? I know there's different kinds of toucans, Jill. What are you talking about? Like the real big ones or the smaller one that was on?
There's a lot more than just two toucans.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot more. Someone actually just joined No Flocks the other day that has a toucan. That's pretty cool.
There's a toucan for sale in Chicago right now. I forget which one it is, but it's a little handheld toucan. It's like the size of maybe
Water
maybe a
bottle?
large conure.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yeah. But like Jewel said, she has 2 wild caught. It was a wild caught also.
Oh, they like jalapenos. Joel, you should see Max. It's so funny. I can give him the jalapeno upside down, and he'll flip it up. I think Kenny had said it. I know Foxy's like, he likes a grenade because he'll flip it up, then he'll whip the top, he'll break the top off like a grenade, like you do with a grenade, and he'd start eating it. It's so funny.
Yeah, and the worst thing I see, and the reason I like No Flocks Given, and I'm going to give these guys a big shout out, is because people can actually have a discussion, and they do not slam the moderators. And even though one of the moderators is my wife, Andrew and I forget her name, she's going to kick my butt. Stephanie, Stacy, the owner of No Flocks Given, don't slam you for having an opinion and having your way. That's what we got to do. Is we all have different ways in how we do things. We all have different ways in how we feed the birds and go at the birds. And some people want to have 40 birds, some people want to have 1 bird. Some people say you're a parakeet or budgie owner, you're not a bird owner, and I own a macaw, and they put them down
like a prestige because they got a cool,
it's not
bigger bird.
Some people might like finches, some people might like canaries. The whole thing is to get people to love our hobby that we're in and get them in it. It doesn't matter what bird it is. It doesn't matter how valuable that bird is. It doesn't matter how, because let's tell you the truth, they're all living animals. They're invaluable. There's no value you can put on them. And some people are like, oh, my bird's worth this much money. Well,
I see that a lot. They're like, they'll put the prices on like it makes them more important, more special because they're expensive.
Guess what? A life's a life. And if the only reason you got the bird is because how much it costs,
you sure can, Joe.
It isn't the reason you should get the bird. You should get the bird that you want. If your bird's going to cost you $10,000 and you want that bird, go get that bird. If the bird you want it costs $20, go get that bird. The most important thing is you're happy with your bird. And that goes on to, there's no starter bird either. You don't have to start with a budgie if you want a cockatoo. A budgie is not going to get you ready for a cockatoo. A budgie is totally different, 100% different than a cockatoo. A macaw is totally different than a cockatoo. I'm going to say this: an umbrella cockatoo is totally different than a Moluccan cockatoo. And a blue and gold is totally different than a scarlet. A scarlet is totally different than a green wing. And I can go on and on and on. And then you could take just one species. It's like green wings. One green wing is going to be different than another green wing, and vice versa.
They're all unique.
To give an example, I gave you guys a story about when I got Thug, the cherry head conure. Before that, I wanted a bird that was at the pet store that I helped. I was a customer service manager, and basically I took care of all the animals. And there was a African gray there, a Congo, that was named Yago, Yoga. We call it Yago, and Yago loved everybody. I'm not joking. Loved everybody. This bird would not sell though. I forget the price tag we had on it, but it would never sell. It was an African gray.
Wow.
I sold African gray next to him all the time. Yago never sold, and Yago loved everybody. He had a vocabulary like 100 words. I mean, we had him for close to 8 months.
What?
Yeah, we don't know why he didn't sell. I ended up putting him with a cage, trying to sell the cage. It was a California King. I mean, I tried everything. I tried every single thing I could do to sell this bird, and it wouldn't sell. And I talked to my boss, and I said, I think it was like $3,500 for everything for the package. I had it at, or $3,000 or something like that. And this was back in 1997, guys. And no one would buy it. And I talked to my boss, said, hey, if it doesn't sell by Christmas, I'm just gonna take the bird. And my boss said, oh, yeah, whatever, man. We'll give you a deal. We'll give you it at cost. So I was gonna get everything at cost. And the person that bought it was the accountant or the bookkeeper of the store. She ended up buying it like a week before Christmas. And the thing is that bird loved every single person, and I wanted that bird. I wanted that bird 100%. But that wasn't the bird I got. 3 months later, I got Thug, and Thug chose me, and that's a big part of it. Yago probably would have been a great bird. He loved everybody, but Thug wanted to go home with me. Thug wanted me, and that's how you got to choose your bird. And I think if you're going to adopt, if you're going to go buy a baby, and I know some people say, adopt, don't shop, but let's be honest, some people want a baby animal. They want that baby bird, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is a hobby. This is what it is, and I understand that there's tons of animals out there that need homes. And I'm on the same level. You can ask Laura. I push to adopt more than anything else. But if they don't put them down. They've still got a bird. The bird needs care for it. That bird was already out there. It needs care for it. So, but if you're going to go adopt, I think you should let the animal adopt you. And you shouldn't walk into a rescue saying, I'm going to get a bird today. You should walk around that rescue, maybe hit 2 or 3 rescues. And when you find the bird that's right for you, you're going to say, that's it.
And you'll know.
And you'll know. And I think that's where some people get, a little tied up, is they want that impressive, whatever bird they want, the, macaw or the cockatoo. And they might have went into the rescue and an Amazon fell in love with them, but they didn't want the Amazon. And if you don't want an Amazon, I totally get it. Don't get it. But if you're just wanting a bird and you're wanting to give a bird a home and that bird chose you, that relationship's going to be better than you getting a cockatoo that doesn't bond with you right away and you're having trouble and screaming and everything else. Because it's not going to be a fun time for you. It's not going to be a fun time for the bird. But maybe that Amazon would have been something for you. It might have been, a bonding experience that bird would love you. And I don't know how birds choose people. I don't know the criteria, but it happens. And just like Max, he's calling for Laura right now, over and over and over. He's calling for Laura. And it's something that you got to do. But I am a big person that says adopt, do not shop. Especially with all the birds that needs homes. Dogs and cats needs homes and stuff like that. There's a lot out there that need homes. I mean, I wish we could have a dog ourselves, but our daughter's allergic to dogs, and being type 1 diabetic, it really messes with her numbers. She can't even be around people with dogs. And I'm a dog person. Before I got married, I always had a dog in my life since
Since you were little?
I can't even remember. I can't remember a time without a dog. And I would love to have a dog, but my daughter can't have a dog. So I'll never have a dog the rest of my life unless she stops being allergic to it. I don't care if I'm, she's 25. I'm not going to have a dog where she can't come over to my house. It just won't happen. But that doesn't mean I don't like dogs. It is so hard when I see dogs, I can't go up and play with them. And I've weaned myself off pretty good, have I not?
Yeah. I just find them as.
Yeah, I mean, at garage sales, I like garage sailing. I would go, I see dogs, and then my daughter started getting sick when we came home, and I had to stop petting the dogs. And it was really hard, but you got to do what fits for you and your family. So, we're all animal people. We all love animals, and I hate seeing the fighting on here, and I hate seeing the fighting online when we have so much power and knowledge to share with each other. And I think that we need to get to that point where we listen to each other, and just because we don't agree with it or whatever, it doesn't mean that we're right. So if you say, hey, I feed all pellets, and your bird is 30 years old and has been eating pellets for 30 years, who the hell am I to say you're wrong? I can give you my opinion and say, hey, you can try this. And that's all we can do is share each other's opinions. We can share our opinions with each other. And then it's up to that person to take that opinion and do what they want with it. Just because they don't follow your opinion doesn't mean that they don't like you. Doesn't mean that your opinion was wrong or right. It just means that they got a different way of doing things. And as long as they're not harming the bird or harming the animal, we should be very happy.
There's a couple questions.
Okay, let's go.
There's a couple up here. I think Nicole asked both. Let me see, Nicole. She's asking if we can help her find a rescue in Utah for birds, and she also asked, "What size does a cage have to be for a cockatoo?" She really wants cockatoo.
What kind of cockatoo? There's difference. There's actually cockatoos that are size of a large conure, and then there's Moluccans that are super, super big.
I think it's umbrella. I'll wait till she comments, but I know she's been looking for
if
an
you're
umbrella.
in Utah, I'm going to write down right now that we're going to look for. I'll start the research right now for you, and I'll have Laura message you, and then we'll talk about it. That reminds me, I need to start doing a rescue hit or whatever we're going to call that segment. We're going to talk about rescues and give some shout outs to some rescues because I do have a list, but none are in Utah. How big do you want the cage? Here, I'm going to tell you. Like I tell all my reptile friends, as big as you can get. As big as you can get. You cannot have too big of a cage, okay? But you can have too small of a cage. Now, the best way to do it is if you can go as tall as you can go, and you want the bird to be able to spread its wings. Now, I'm going to assume that you want a cockatoo, that the cockatoo.
Umbrella, yep.
What?
She wants an umbrella.
An umbrella. You're not going to want it caged all day, so you're going to have an outside perch. So that's going to be a lot of exercise for it, and you can let it run around. Max runs around on the floor and stuff. But what you want to do for the cage is you want to be able to spread its wings. You want to have a nice area for them to eat. Excuse me. And you want toys in there, but you don't want to over clutter it. Now, the reason I say that is a lot of people say you want to have a cage, just like I said, with the birds can spread their wings. But then when the bird spreads their wings with the toys cluttered in it, they can't because there's too many toys in the cage. So there's a happy medium. What I like to do, and I love this, and I've seen it at a rescue, is you could take phone books or other books and place them in the top part of the cage, and that's a chew toy for them to climb up there and chew on it. You're giving them something to do. They're climbing the cage. They're getting exercise. That's a cool thing to do. You want a few dangly toys. And you can dangle stuff on the bottom of their perches, too. So it dangles under, so it's not in their way when they're on their perch. That's a good idea. But I always tell people as large as you can go. The feet-wise, I'll email or have Laura message you and tell you the dimensions that you would want to get for an umbrella. But if you can go big, you can't go too big. You can't. So if you're on Craigslist or, message Laura the area you are in Utah, and I'll even help you search a little bit, and we'll send you some links to some good deals on some caging and stuff like that. And we'll see if we can help you find a cage.
We found a cage, Max's cage, and a huge perch was.
It was $75.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the cage that Max is in, guys, and a perch that you guys haven't seen yet. It needs wood on it. It's our house is kind of small, too small to have the perch and everything else we have. So we got a smaller perch. But Max's cage and everything, $75. We found it on YouTube. Or YouTube, Craigslist. Found it on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube.
So there's nothing wrong with used cages, guys. There's nothing wrong. You can clean everything there is.
I think Jewel asked a question. My cockatoo was clipped a while back, and one wing was fully flighted, and the other one was no flight feathers.
So they clipped one wing and not the other?
I'm thinking that's what I'm reading.
Well, is she asking how long it's going to take?
Let me read it. My cockatoo was clipped a while back. While one wing is fully flighted, the other ? No flight feathers.
I know this sucks, but I've seen where the clipping's gone wrong and the flight feathers take forever to come back. I've seen flight feathers take up to a year or two. So give it time. It's something that, you guys heard me. I don't believe in clipping. There's no need for it. And it does change a bird's attitude. But I don't yell at people for clipping. I'm one of the people that if you clip, you clip. But you give it time. It's something that the person that clipped might have clipped wrong.
Max's were horrible when we got
him. Yeah. Max still has not got all his flight feathers back. And Max has an issue too where he's not damaging his things out of anger. He uses his feathers to prune himself and scratch his head. He'll take. I've never seen it before in my life until this bird. He'll grab his feathers from his wing, and it's really weird how he does it, and then scratches himself with it. So
He knows we're talking about him.
I don't know. He doesn't sit there and like tear his feathers or damage. It's getting damaged from that. He'll sit there and just rub himself on the neck with his wing feathers, and sit there for hours and just do it. And then if you go up and you start doing it on the side that he's doing it on, he'll drop that whip, put his wing back, put that foot down, and do the other side. That's what he does. He likes being scratched. If you want to be Max's friend and you ever see him, you can scratch him and he'll be your friend. If you could touch him at first.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. She says no, they're both clipped.
Oh, they're both clipped? Yeah. They could have damaged that one side. They could have clipped it wrong. And a lot of people think they know what they're doing when they clip, especially rescues. They'll show people, and I've seen mutilations when it comes to clipping, guys. I've seen it. I wish we would have got pictures of Max's wings when we first got him. I mean, it was bad.
That's one thing I didn't get pictures of, but it was bad. One lady gave me the riot act. She was just going nuts because I actually have a video because I opened them up. I'm like, look at his wings. And she was just going crazy. I'm like, it was about a week after we adopted them, and they were pretty bad. I know exactly what video it is. I'll show you.
Yeah, they can damage them, guys. That's probably what happened. If you could get pictures of it, you can send it to me, and I can. If I don't have the answer, I can send them to a couple of friends of mine and see what they have to say.
Yeah, the only reason I had her clipped, the clip she got before I got her was horrible. They were still long, but it looked like the tips were cut off.
Yeah, people don't know what they're doing. It happens. Flight feathers can take some time to come back. As long as they weren't plucked out, you should be. They just take some time.
How did you transition from one bird to another, and how do you divide the time bond with more?
We fucked with
Yep, that's right. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about? I know Nicole has been looking for her umbrella for a while, and she found a few. We figured out one was a scam. Nicole, we talked about that for a while.
That's the Utah?
Yep. And then she went to a bird store and it was expensive.
I'll put some messages out to some of my reptile friends because, lo and behold, reptile people are bird people too. And I'll put it out there and see if we got anything out there the Utah way, and it'd be legit for you, and we'll get you in contact with some people to help you out. Because that's what this is all about. This is what this show's about. You guys can, don't be scared to say anything in chat. And I told you guys I was going to try to get the phone lines going for this show. I am struggling with that because I've been very, very, very busy. And again, tomorrow is going to be a very busy day for me. And then Sunday is going to be a busy day for me. And the next week's going to be really busy for me. But things are going to start calming down probably after the holidays. But I got to do is I got to get that forum up on Whistling Radio's forum so we can you guys can talk about things, and you don't have to be scared. Now, the only thing I tell you guys is if you guys talk about something, don't be upset if someone gives you a different opinion. But then the person giving you opinion shouldn't put you down. A conversation is different than an argument. So let's say someone doesn't like my opinion about pellets. I say pellets are okay to feed as long as you don't just feed pellets. As long as they're talking to me and we're having a civilized conversation, we're good. We're okay. But as soon as it gets to that second grade level, that's when we're going to have an issue, and we'll get rid of them people. But the people that want to talk and just better the hobby and make the love for birds go, because I'm telling you guys, I'm a reptile person at heart. I love my reptiles. But Laura likes, the birds, and she wants to do birds, and I'm going to back my wife up on anything she wants to do. And so we're going to, if she wants birds, she's going to get birds. Hopefully, the reptiles take off a little bit and I can have millions and millions of reptiles.
Reptiles are awesome. I call them living art.
I want to have cobras.
That's okay.
And people laugh. Everyone's going to say, I used to have cobras. I used to have rattlesnakes and gaboon vipers and boom slings and mangrove snakes and rattlesnakes and let's say Mojave rattlesnakes, eastern diamondbacks, western diamondbacks. I used to have those. I'm talking like tons of them.
Jules said, I don't normally clip, but I'm having surgery. Jules is a jerk. He will physically go after my caregiver, and she is the one that will take care of my animals.
Yeah, that's because the bond.
Yes, he does.
The bond for that caregiver probably hasn't been there, huh?
Probably not.
And that's what it is. And people need to understand that when you're welcomed into a bird's flock and you're bonded with that bird, you're part of its flock. That's a really high honor. I mean, like, Max has taken us 4 into his flock and says, you're part of us. We're all one group now. And anyone else that comes in is an intruder. And to give an example, anyone can come over to our house and Max will just scream, oh, get out until they leave. He does not like people being in the house. And that just goes to show that he isn't like that. It just goes to show that picking a bird that picks you is a little bit better than just going and grabbing a bird that you like, because everyone sits there and says we got lucky with Max, but Max doesn't like everybody. He doesn't. No. He doesn't like everybody. If you came over, you'd be lucky to be able to touch him, or touch his perch. But for some, when we first got him, I held him. There's a picture somewhere of me holding him at the rescue.
Yeah, it's up in his folder.
But the thing is he loved Laura. He didn't really like me. There was another cockatoo there, an umbrella cockatoo named Baby, that loved me. They said you can't put her in and out of the cage. I was putting her in and out of the cage constantly, and that bird loved me. But the bird wasn't supposed to be for me. It was supposed to be for Laura. And so Laura got the Moluccan because she wanted that bird and that bird wanted her. It was a better fit for us. There was another bird I really liked. His name was Stevie. Gosh dang, I can't think of what kind of macaw he was.
He was a harlequin or something.
Harlequin, yeah. There's a harlequin macaw. And he was aggressive to most people, but he liked me for some reason. But again, that wasn't the reason we were there. We were there for Laura.
I tried macaw, but they just startle me because I think they're bassy. Maybe it's their huge honking beak and their bassy voice. I don't know. Maybe it'd be better now that I'm used to Max, but.
He asking if I have a brother. I have actually 2 brothers. One's married and the other one's kind of married. But yeah, one of my brothers isn't into reptiles at all, into animals at all. And then my other brother, my younger brother, I started professional herpculture with. That's all he does for a living now is breed snakes.
Yeah.
That's all he does. He breeds snakes. He makes a very good living at it. I got him into the reptile trade. And when I met Laura, I kind of gave up my half of professional herpculture and left the business and got married. And he's still doing it to this day.
Nicole was telling us about the bird she saw.
Where were we at?
I've seen reptiles and birds, but they wanted to look for a bird, but they wanted up to $4,000 for a umbrella at a bird store.
An umbrella, $4,000? No, that's crazy. To give an example, if you want to get an umbrella. I know some people are going to get really mad about this. An umbrella shouldn't cost you more than $1,500, even at a breeder. I know some breeders are going to cost up to $3,000. If you want to go and adopt an umbrella, it'd be around $400 to $800. It matters on the adoption. Now, I would rather pay more for an adopted animal than a baby animal because the adopted animal money is going to go towards that rescue and help other birds. That's why the adoption fees are high. Some people they're looking for homes. I've had people say that, is it Cares where we got Max?
Yeah, Care.
They say, well, they're expensive. Well, they got like a 6,000 square foot building. They got to pay electric and they got to get food and they got to do this and they got to do that and they got to pay rent.
And the vet that comes in.
And the vet that comes in and checks the animals and they got bills they got to pay. So, but at most, if you were going to a breeder that was known worldwide, an umbrella, maybe $3,000 for a top one.
Better be hand fed.
Yeah, well, I say never buy a non-hand fed bird. There are people that let the mom and dad rear the bird. They tend to be harder to deal with at first. Always try to get a hand fed bird. It's just a better experience if you're a first-time bird owner. Now, if you got birds and you have birds and you know what to look for, go get a bird raised bird. It does. That's what you want to do. But if you're a first time bird owner, get a hand fed or go adopt. Now remember the hands behind the back. If you adopt, it's a very easy approach. You're not aggressive, and it's going to help you when you go up to adopt a bird. And you're going to see what birds are more, curious about you. When you go up there, you don't want a bird that when you walk up to the cage, it goes up in the opposite corner of the cage. Now, if you're going to go to that rescue 4, 5, 6, 7 times, keep going up to that bird's cage and see if it comes down to you. Because we don't know the story, but you don't want to adopt that bird and go, that one up the corner, I want to buy it, and then think that, the next day it's going to love you. It's going to take a lot more work. So you can tell what bird's going to take more work when you're at a rescue. Some birds are going to take a lot more work, and then some birds are going to love you from the beginning, like Max. To give you an example, the conures. I keep telling the kids what to do, and they just don't want to listen to me.
They want them to be like Max with them, but
they want to be like Max, but they're almost there. It just takes time. Birds take attention. They love attention. They love being the center of attention. And when you buy a bird or adopt a bird, you have a 2 to 4 year old child the rest of your life. Especially with us older folks, and I'm going to say me too. Max is going to outlive me. I mean, unless I live to be 110. I mean, there's no way. I mean, he's got another 40 years good in him. Easy. I don't know if I got 40 years left in me. I mean, seriously.
What is herpiculture?
What's that? Oh, what is herpiculture? It's herp. HERP culture. That is basically the study of reptiles. A herpiculturist is a hobbyist that studies reptiles, and a herpetologist is like someone that has a degree. When I was growing up and I was in school, I'm self-taught, so I'm a herpiculturist, not a herpetologist. A study of reptiles. Basically what we are in birds, reptiles, and I take it to extreme. In my prime, I probably had over 10 to 15,000 animals at one time. I mean, my venomous room alone, 300, 400 snakes in a venomous room alone. And then I had a sellable room. I called for all the babies I produced or babies I bought. I would have 2,000, 2,500 snakes, and with geckos. The geckos alone, when I bred geckos, I would have 2,000 geckos on hand at any given time. I mean, you got to think some snakes were dropping 20 babies at a time. The boas, some 30, 40 at a time. Geckos would give me 2 at a time, but like 6 to 10 eggs a year. Some give me 20. If you guys, anyone that breeds geckos want to know that secret, give me a holler. But I was in the venomous a little bit more than I was anything else. I love venomous snakes. And if you ever search my name, you'll probably come up with more venomous stuff that I've done than anything else. I had more ways to die in my house than you do going outside. Probably going over, across seas where the terrorists are at. I probably have more ways to die in my house than you do there. I had snakes that, if I was bit, that was it. I was going to die. But I loved it. I loved it, and I love that hobby and the people in it and the people I grew up with or not really grew up with that brought me into it. They made me who I am today, and I look at everything out in the open. Because when you're a venomous keeper, you have to, because there's no book out there that says, hey, this is how you keep a gaboon viper. You kind of just learn from the people that's kept gaboon vipers, or monocle cobras, or king cobras, or, any of the Naya. Naya being a cobra. Some people call it Naja, Naya, we're talking Latin names now. And when we talk about Latin names, that's what I was trying to tell the people. They said Budgie and Parakeet. I'm like, they're both pet trade names. They're both pet trade names or common names. That's what they are. The Latin name is a true name or scientific name, whichever you would like to call it. Like ball python and royal python that's the pet trade for Python riduus. Python riduus is a snake out of Africa, and we know them mostly as ball pythons, and overseas know them as royal pythons. Um, but your what? Let's see what other venomous snake, like your monocle cobras, Naya Coathia, and that's a monocle cobra. And the reason the scientific name is so important in venomous world is if you're bit, the pet trade name might be something different when you go to the hospital. So you want to know the scientific name to that animal that just bit you, so they can actually, look into it and, say, oh, you got bit by this, snake. We can help you out, or you got bit by this snake. Do you have a living will? That's basically what it is. Yeah, herpetology is my thing.
Jewel, that's terrible. She said she wishes she could volunteer to rescue. Was told by the owner of the only bird rescue, I believe in that area, I think she meant, that due to my mental handicaps, I'm a person who would just be in the way, and it broke my heart. That's wrong.
That's kind of messed up, because I think that you could offer something to the rescue. I mean, you probably would love to clean cages and feed birds and play with birds. That's all you got to do, is love birds. What else you got to do at a rescue is love birds.
Love birds and give them attention.
If I had a rescue and you came up to me and says, hey, I want to help, I'm like, okay, when do you want to help? If you say, I want to just play with birds, go play with birds. Because that's what the birds need. That's what a rescue is all about, is to love the animals. That's the bottom line. It sounds like that rescue is running it to be a business and not running it to be a rescue to me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you lose sight of the animals, and you guys are going to start seeing the YouTube videos of me again for reptiles and Max and stuff. And Laura made me very proud about this, is she didn't make it about her. She made it about Max. And that's, if you guys ever look up Gary Orner and look up videos of me, I do sit in front of the camera and talk sometimes, but when I did the animals, you seen the animal and you heard my voice. It was about the animal and not my face. And today I'm seeing a lot of people on YouTube with animals, and they're making it about them and what they can do to make the animal bite, or what they can do to use the animal to scare somebody, or what they can make the animal do stupid. And they're not watching the animal. And Laura really made me proud, because she shows what Max does. She doesn't make Max do anything. That's what Max is. And she takes it, and you guys have fallen in love with it. And that's what I like, is the animals the most. And
you very rarely see me on a video, and I say that because I just actually did one when I was holding him.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of the camera at all. I'll talk all day. I'm having a really bad day on the radio today, guys. I'm really, really tired. And someone told me last week I was born to do this, and this is what I love to do. I would love to just make a living at
Andrew.
I would love to just make do this for a living, and but let's be honest, I don't think it's ever going to get to that point. I don't think it ever will. But what we're going to do is we're going to try. And if I had a rescue and someone came up to me and says, hey, I want to help, I would, first off, what would you like to do? And when they told me, I was like, well, let's do that.
She said it'd be a dream come true. It'd be mine too, Jill, to be honest. I would love to work at a bird rescue, but I would have too big of a heart. I would be so sad.
The thing is at a bird rescue, all you need is love. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Love the animals and take care of the animals and play with the animals and give them attention. And I cannot. Wow.
That's
what kind of rescue do you can't be here because of your mental health issues? Shoot, I think being there would help you out too.
Yeah, it would. It's birds they give you a. I think all animals do that. It's a different kind of a therapy that you can't get out of a pill or a counselor or anything. It's just a calming. It's something special. I've had pets before too, but I've never had a bond like I have with Max. And it was right away because my adrenaline was rushing because I saw him, and then I thought, there's no way that he's available, and there's no way that I'll be able to handle that bird because that bird could rip my face off. And I did. I handled him right away, and I was scared but excited, and I was mostly excited because he wanted me. He paid attention to me, and he liked me, and it was the coolest feeling in the world to have
That-
a bird pick you. It's awesome.
Yeah, when you adopt, that's the best thing I can tell someone to do is you have an idea what you're looking for, but when you go in, let the bird pick you, and it might not happen right away. It might happen right away, but let the bird pick you, and you're going to have a better experience. But I also say if you're not wanting a smaller bird and you want a larger bird, don't take the smaller bird just because it picked you if you're not happy with that bird, because human nature is going to make you not want that. You're going to go after the other bird still. So only go after what you want and what you truly want. But if the bird picks you, you're going to have a better experience. You just are. You're going to be able to get away with a little bit more out of that new bird.
There is a young lady that comes into the bird store. I go see Nino, the military macaw. She comes in every day to play with the umbrella cockatoo. I bet you she makes both of you make those birds' days. They probably look forward to seeing
That's
you
all
guys.
they want is contact. That's all they want. So, is there anything else you want to hit on? Because what I'm thinking, guys, is we're going to go ahead and start doing 2 shows a week. I just got to figure out what time I could be on, and I apologize. I am out of it today. I am tired. But I'm thinking about doing 2 shows or we can even do 3 to 4 shows. We just got to figure this all out. We just got to, but every Friday night at 9 o'clock right now, we're going to be doing a show for sure at 9 o'clock Central Time. And we're going to get that forum up. I got to get that forum up, but I won't be able to do it tonight. No.
Not happening?
Not tonight. But there's a lot of things that I got planned. Like by one computer, if you guys are wondering how I'm live on 3 different, I got one computer running it. It's kind of a powerful computer. You want to have a nice processor in it and stuff like that. So you are not killing it. But I just actually opened up the page I want to go live on and use the one camera. I do need to get a better webcam. That is something we got to get. I want to get a more wide angle webcam. I got a 720p. I want to get a 1080 or a 4K and get it wide angle, and it would be actually really nice. That would be something in the future because I just don't have the extra $200 for that camera right now.
Jewel has a question. Hey, Gary, I have a question about my turtle.
What's up?
What about your turtle? Tell us. And what kind is it?
Bet you we're going to find out.
Yes, we are.
Max is high.
Yes, he does.
I miss Max.
We had a turtle for a while.
There's people commenting on my aunt's post.
Yeah. One of these days I'll bring the birds in.
Yeah,
At least one at a time.
This was an office that we're in, and I used to do repairs out of this, and I'm a very unorganized person.
Very.
And but you know what they say about unorganized people? They're the most intelligent people. And I had to take my repair bench out of here for this radio show and make this more of a studio. But if you guys look on the camera on the shelf behind us, you guys can see I have some Nintendos, a PlayStation 2, an Xbox, a Super Nintendo. I got a 2-port audio switch in there, and I got a liquid cool system back there for a computer. I have a lot of stuff. I'm a computer technician, guys. So I got
video game repairs.
Yeah, I do video game repair, cell phone repair,
video game systems.
So I have tons of it. Like I got stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff.
Okay, Jewel says he's on his basking rock a lot, but this time, well, it's the first time I noticed. His legs are inside his shell. He is a red ear slider. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's totally fine. Red ear sliders will actually bask up to 8 to 10 hours. So
Wow.
they're totally fine. Red ear sliders are very hardy, and they'll put their stuff in their shell, or their feet in their shell. It's a normal thing. They're just sitting there resting. Their shell absorbs that heat.
How you can tell if it's a male or female, if you got really, 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 really long front claws, that's a male, and short front claws are not. Let's see. Red ear sliders are actually really cool animals, though. They'll eat anything from goldfish, crickets. I've seen them eat strawberries.
Really?
I don't know if you want to feed them strawberries, but I've seen them eat strawberries. But I've seen them eating cooked chicken before, pork, cook it, because our meat that we eat gets aged, so the bacteria on it needs to be cooked off. But he's totally fine. A Red ear slider, a Basque, for 8 to 10 hours if given the opportunity, because you got to remember they're cold-blooded, and the water temperature can be 10 to 15 degrees different than the air temperature. In a tank it might be 5 to 8 degrees difference, but it still brings their temperature down when they're in the water all the time. So they'll bask.
Can they eat chicken? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, cooked chicken. They'll eat cooked chicken, very much so. They'll eat any cooked meat, but you want to cook it. You don't want to feed it raw. But they love chicken. I used to actually catch wild ones with chicken.
Really?
Yep. I used to just put a net down and put chicken in the middle of the net. When they went up, I just pulled the net up. Boom, done. I catch them all the time. And red ear sliders are not native to a lot of places like Wisconsin. They're out in the wild here, but they're not native. They were released. Red ear sliders are very, very hardy. They'll live where it's cold, warm. They don't care. They're very, very hardy. They smell, though, sometimes.
Oh, no, I would never give them raw. Good. Don't do that. That would not be good.
Yeah. It's just because our meat is aged and actually stuff's put on it, and we cook that to kill the bacteria. Out in the wild, yes, they'll eat something that's been rotten for a while too, but it's different. You always want to cook the meat, even for your birds, unless you feed them live insects like Max eats mealworms. I don't know why he only eats them when I walk up there. Someone walks up to the cage.
It's usually at night he'll go in there. And Jewel just asked, heater in the water?
You can do that, yes. If you got a basking spot, it's not necessary because that heat will heat up the water, but you can do it. The thing you got to watch out for when you got aquatic turtles is heaters in the water have to be submerged in water. So if any of that glass gets out of water, it'll break the unit. And if anything happened, it could electrocute the turtle, but it's a rarity. But I've seen that happen. That's why I tell people just a strong basking light usually does fine. But if you're going to heat the water, 75 degrees is perfect. 75, 78. Don't go into the 80s like some people say to do. You don't need to.
Oh, she says, yes, that's my scary cockatoo when I was sick. I got him. By the time I got to him, another vet knew what they were doing, and they had to be placed in an incubator.
Yeah, when birds get sick, they hide it so well, and then it hits hard. People that own birds probably had a sick bird, never knew it, and they just healed themselves like a human gets a cold. They probably just healed and they never knew it because they hide it so well. Rabbits are another good one that hide their sicknesses very well.
Are they dangerous to my cat or dog? Are you talking about your turtle?
The turtle? No, salmonella is not on the turtle like some people think. It's on their feces more. Yes, there is bacteria on the animal. You don't want to put them in their mouth, but their feces can carry salmonella. But you're fine.
Yeah, her lamp is 75 watt.
Yep, that's fine.
Gala. What do you mean? Are you talking about a bird gala, or what do you mean, Jewel?
Yeah, I got sulcata tortoises or spurthite tortoises.
Those are cool. Too. He fell off my arm, and that's how I realized he was sick. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I
You're
could.
welcome.
We can even do a reptile show together. Let's do a reptile show. But I do have a reptile show. It's called Cold Blooded Radio. And I think my buddy Steve is going to co-host it with me again. We used to do Herp Radio. And he just brought it up to me today that he wants to do it again. And I'm like, well, I already got a show. I own a radio station. So let's do it. The only one I've been doing on the regular is this one.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it, because my schedule is so whacked. So, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to hit on?
I think we're good.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll end this because I got to be up soon.
Jules said that's a great idea, and it'd be awesome. Any idea when for the reptile show? I believe that's what Jewel meant.
The reptile show, I'll post it. I'll post it on No Flux too, and I'll post it on Whistling Radio. I might be doing a show Sunday. It'll be just me talking. I might do one Sunday. I might do it Monday. I haven't decided yet because I did do them last Friday. I did one, and it was before Whistling Radio. It's just something that I do everything with a script. Laura does a script for this, and so I have stuff to talk about. And as you guys can see, I can talk about almost anything as long as I got a topic.
Yeah, he'll talk forever. Just you never.
I can keep going, but
goes like an Energizer battery.
But I haven't decided what day it's going to be. When Steve hosts it with me, we'll get a time. The only time frame that I can't have is Whistling Radio's couple hours that we got going here. And it'll be set up just like this, where afterwards it'd be a podcast, and we'll get that uploaded and taken care of. So, yeah, the reptile show will be going on. There's a few shows I got that will be going on that I want to talk about. One, it'd be like Shock Jock This. It's kind of about current events that be adult rated. And then I'm going to have my Cleveland Browns show that I'll probably have Eric Metcalf on with me. He's an ex-Cleveland Browns player. And then I got some people that want to do the NBA show, but they haven't got their equipment yet to get on the radio because they wanted to use mine, but mine's in my home, ours, and I won't let them in my home. If we had like an office or something, it'd be different, but I can't just give someone the keys to my house and say, oh, whenever you want to do it, just go ahead. So
yeah, no, we're good on that.
Yeah. So that NBA show, I've been actually questioned about that a few times, and I'm like, they haven't got the stuff they need. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll just go ahead and end it now, and we'll go ahead and do it next Friday for sure at 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll have another Whistling Radio show.
Yes.
If we do another one, we will surprise you guys. Remember, we are working towards getting prizes and doing some contests on here and giving away prizes. If you're interested in donating a prize, we are not accepting animals as prizes, but any type of supply, gift certificate to pet stores or anything like that, anything donated to us will be used strictly for Whistling Radio. If you are interested in advertising on here, you're a rescue, you get 100% free advertisement. All you got to do is give me an email at gary@thetotalradio.com. I will have the Whistling Radio emails up soon. But email me at gary@thetotalradio.com and give me the information about your rescue. Give me a picture, a banner ad, or whatever, and we'll get that up 100% free. If you are a business, a breeder, or anyone else that would like to advertise and support Whistling Radio, just give me a contact and email me, and we'll talk about that, and we'll get your advertisement up. Right now, we have no advertisers or no sponsors.
No.
If you
forget, you can always message the page too.
Yeah, you can message the page, Whistling Radio. If you would like to sponsor a whole show and give away a prize and make the whole show about you, and maybe the topics and stuff like that, just give me a holler. We'll get that taken care of too. So be on the lookout for the forum. I'll get that up. I will try to get that up this week. It takes a lot to code because I don't use the generic stuff. So I try to make it as secure as possible. It will have a classified ads up there. It'll be 100% free for you guys. So you guys can sell supplies. I will not mind if you sell birds. Only thing I say, if you sell birds, please make sure that the birds are taken care of when they are shipped. If you are going to ship birds, I don't want to hear about people shipping birds through FedEx. I want it taken care of properly. So we will have that going, and we are working on getting a live chat just on whistlingradio.com, so you can just go there and live chat with your friends anytime you want, and it'd be a big group chat. If you guys are old enough to remember AOL chat rooms, that's basically what it'd be like, but it'd be about for birds. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm sure Laura does too.
Yes. I appreciate it. It's just awesome talking with everybody.
Yeah, it is amazing. And when I shut down the radio, I'll shut down the YouTube stuff last, but the YouTube and Facebook stuff. But we are signing off of the radio station. So I appreciate everyone's tuning in to the Total Radio's Whistling Radio. And we will talk to you guys soon. All right, we're off the radio.
Okay.
We're off radio. We're live still on everyone. I just want to thank everyone again for coming on in and listening. We're going to be going off YouTube now.